Brian Wilson, famously, not a surfer, didn't surf, just wrote all these songs, and all of them were like, gonna go surfing with the boys. It's surf time. You know, those names of Beach Boys songs.
Yep.
Their biggest hit is It's Surf Time.
Brunch. Hit it, boys.
Hey, do Don't Look Up in the Eyes of Tammy Faye signal a shift in Hollywood's attitude toward religion?
In what way?
I don't know. It's what Vince Mancini asks on uprocks.com. Vince is going to join us today. He's a senior film and culture writer. I'm just kidding. We don't have any guests.
No, definitely not.
But that's a question that he asks.
And it's just a question that I'm not at all interested in. I couldn't. I don't even think I comprehended the question.
Don't Look Up and the Eyes of Tammy Faye signal a shift in Hollywood's attitude towards religion. I'm not making fun of this piece from Vince Mancini. I just like...
You better not, because Vince Mancini's a friend of mine.
Really?
We used to work together at Uprocks.
Interesting. Let me...
He is at Film Drunk.
Oh, that's Film Drunk. Okay.
Yes, it sure is.
Well, he's asking the question. He's just asking the question. So if anyone's upset about the conversation... He's not necessarily saying one way or another. I haven't read the piece. Maybe he is. You know that I love me some questionable headlines.
You do. I haven't seen The Eyes of Tammy Faye still, but I have seen Don't Look Up, and I don't feel like it has like, I don't know. Maybe it does. Maybe it does have like a lot of religion.
I've said a lot of words about Don't Look Up, and I've never said the word religion.
Yeah.
So that means that either, but then maybe that's like Hollywood's attitude towards religion. Maybe in this piece, and again, there is a way I could find out answers to this, but maybe in this piece, Vince points out that Don't Look Up is about the world ending, yet there is not much of an emphasis on religion, where 50, 60 years ago, that would be a big thing. They'd kind of Titanic it a bit, and there would be the religious people
True.
praying to their God.
Did they even mention the word like rapture in Don't Look Up?
No. So maybe
they do in the Bon Iver song.
What's it called? It's not called "We Will See You Next Time," but
Second Nature.
Second Nature. Love that.
The opening line of that song, or is like one of the first few lines is like, "Will there be like for the rapture? Will there be merch?"
Really?
Yeah.
Whoa. Co-written by Josh Tillman.
That's
Used to
right.
be in Fleet Foxes. Now the lead singer of the band, Father John Misty. There's also like a kind of Killer's line in that first verse. He says like, "Mother was a stunner."
Okay.
I'm like, that's something that like Brandon Flowers would do.
Mm-hmm.
And then maybe take it to the bedroom with himself. Yeah. Just be like, I killed that.
You think Brandon Flowers like hangs out by himself on the Friday night and he's just like, "Hey,
Has like evenings?
what? Evenings?" And then,
Yeah.
and then like at the end of the night, he's like, "Hey, you want to take this to the bedroom?" And he's just talking to himself.
Maybe. I told you that there was
We haven't done that joke in a long time.
Yeah, a running joke used to be that Brandon Flowers loved him some Brandon Flowers. We phrased it a way that we're a little more grown up now, but
I still think it's funny.
yeah, if somebody would say, "Hey, do you like brunch?" The person would respond, "Does Brandon Flowers has his own D?" Anyway,
Need Brandon Flowers to make a strong individual comeback so that we can start working that back in.
But I told you that Netflix there was like a Netflix version of Song Exploder, and they did it on, one of the episodes was on When You Were Young, and the entire time is Brandon Flowers being the most like humble, but also like very team-oriented person. Like every part you think that he's going to be like, and that's when I decided to make it sound like this. But he was like, and then, man, dude, when this motherfucker right here, when he started playing that beat, that's what changed the song. Like everything was about how like we did this as a team. And it made me feel good because we've also spoken about how like the idea of bands, they're just like kind of dying.
Yeah.
That it's like, a band puts out an album, and half the times it's like Paramore, I believe, like was never a band. it was like Haley Williams had
And
a
company.
recording
Yeah.
contract, and they were like, you know, it would be cute is if we make it like a band. And then they got all these people, and maybe she grew up with them or knew them or something, but like they weren't actually a band. And so yeah, it was cool.
I'm of the belief that Adam Levine single-handedly killed bands.
That is kind of where that line may have happened. Also, while we're talking about California-based musicians who had great debut albums, you see Sara Bareilles' post?
I
the other
did.
day?
I saw it, and it was incredible.
Yeah.
I personally took away. There was like one line in that caption that I was like, oh, and like clutched my heart. And she said like, blessed with a breakdown.
Ooh.
She was like, I was blessed with a breakdown. And that's like kind of how I feel, given like my last like half year or whatever.
Yeah.
I was blessed with a breakdown, and like I feel like I'm in a better place because of it. And so it's like obviously a hard thing to go through.
Yeah.
But it does feel like a necessary thing. And I thought her caption, it was like incredibly written.
Oh, I mean, who else but Sara Bareilles could put something that well? Because she's incredible, but hit close to home with me because I recently, I don't know how many months ago, got back on the old antidepressants and hadn't been on them for a while. Like, I was probably on them for a lot of the beginning of this podcast, and then maybe 2-3 years ago got off them. And legitimately for like years, I'm talking, like never felt myself, and just like it went from oh well, I'm kind of like adjusting to getting off them to like, oh well, whatever, life's weird now and everything. And since I've been back on them recently, I have kind of felt a little more like myself. And she put so much stuff in that note of like, you can have all of the, and I'm not like demanding that people take medication or whatever, but like you can have a lot of the things that you need in place. Like she says that she's like very happy in her relationship. Obviously she's got a very fulfilling job. She's got a very loyal fan base. As long as she isn't like an absolute dummy, she's probably very
Well
fine
off. Yeah.
financially, and like everything that she's done has been cool and well received. But still,
That doesn't
you could
mean that you're
still-
bringing it all home.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So that was great. And even to like, I cut mine in half too. So the
Okay.
picture of the palm with the
half
like
tablet.
crudely, they're so tough to break in half.
Well,
don't know
I
if you
mean,
noticed, the
it
small
looks
ones,
so small.
the
Yeah.
small ones are so like, my fingers have taken more of a beating from trying to snap little pills than from any like guitar or bass strings or anything. And those are supposed to actually like rebuild your fingers. But
Right.
these, man, they're a toughie.
Yeah, I have. I don't know. I mean, I think we've had this conversation off the pod, but like I've been on the fence about medication for a little while and debating
That's
it.
normal, though.
Yeah, and so like I don't know. Maybe I'll make a decision at some point, but like I don't know. The sleeping has been an issue for me lately. So I don't know. We'll see. But like, hey, I think if it helps and if it's something that gets you to where you need to go,
Yeah.
and like I'm considering it. So
Yeah.
I thought the post was great though.
And I mean, it's also like with therapy where you can try it and be like, oh, this therapist is a nice person, but maybe not for me. Or like I don't know how much I've spoken about like side effects of SSRIs, but you can a quick Google or just like using your imagination. I've spoken to you at points about them, but like it can be tricky finding the one
Right.
that checks all your boxes. So it's not like I'm not saying like Sara Bareilles posted this. See, get
Right,
on
yeah.
like SSRIs or whatever, get on antidepressants. But like as somebody who's been on them and off them, it felt cool to see that like Sara Bareilles, who's like the coolest person in the world, is like, hell yeah, I got to use these things too. But also that like like when I wasn't on them, I didn't even think. I was just too dumb to realize like, oh, I should probably get back on these things. But it's easy to think that like when you're on a medication that like you're not really yourself and that you're like this kind of like augmented version
Right.
of yourself. But I don't know. I've come to find personally that like that's not true. Like what I am, like I don't know, like right now I'm not like killing it or anything or like the happiest person right now, but like I've got a little more blood in my face. Like my energy is there and not as the lows don't last as long as they do when I'm not on there. And I'm like, I don't know, like which one of those do I think sounds more like me? Hopefully it's the one that's like having better days and like sometimes like wakes up and legitimately like looks around and like fucking smiles and stuff.
Yeah. That's yeah, I mean like I think that like if there's like if there's a blue sky and you've got clouds blocking it without medication and the medication helps the clouds go away,
Yeah.
then why not be on the medication? Like I feel like from my perspective, I don't want the medication to create clouds.
Yeah.
Like more clouds, I guess.
And I mean,
there
again,
are.
like,
I've been
simple
told that some
Google,
do. Yeah,
they can. I mean, well, I recommend Chris Gethard's Career Suicide. I think it's called. Remember that one-man show he did?
yeah. It was
that,
fucking.
We really liked?
It was like a. It was incredible, but it
Yeah.
was like heartbreaking to watch.
Yeah, he talks about SSRIs and like going through the different ones and like, I mean, the side effects range from like weight gain, like sexual side effects, like all so like there are like a lot of wonky things that it
Yeah.
can throw at you. So like he, but I feel like everybody knows all that. But he makes just some of the stories he tells are funny, but as you said, also kind of heartbreaking. But yeah, I don't know. Shout out Sara Bareilles. I don't. Her last album kind of trash. I'll be real.
I'm proud of you for saying that because you're like the biggest Sara Bareilles stan that exists.
Yeah, I mean that album came out, and I was like, not amazing. Hit up some loved ones, music people I trust. I was like, do me a favor, listen to this, and they were like, yeah, kind of.
People are asking the question: has Taylor Swift made a better Sara Bareilles album than Sara Bareilles has in the past few years?
I mean, 1989 is a very good Sara Bareilles album.
It's arguably my favorite Sara Bareilles album.
So this episode, we're going to draft Sara Bareilles albums, and it's going to Pete gets first pick and takes Taylor Swift's 1989. I actually had a dream. This is so weird. I had a dream that I was arguing that I was at a Taylor Swift concert with one of my friends who's a Taylor Swift fan, and the best part is like you can't narrow down who it is because I only surround myself with big Taylor Swift fans. Possibly so I can be like the thorn in their side.
You're like a big part of your brand is just like Taylor Swift fans are ruining my life, and then you're just like, but
All of
I'm
my
only
friends are
going to be
you,
friends with Taylor Swift fans.
Randy, Nora Princiotti,
Feidelberg.
Megyn Kelly, Feidelberg, like all
The
of my,
biggest Taylor Swift fans.
the biggest, like Nora's like a professional like her
Yeah.
job is to be a Taylor Swift fan.
That
I'm
is
like,
true.
Oh, why are Taylor? Everything in my life is Taylor Swift. That's Taylor Swift. That.
It's like that you could have some friends that aren't like the biggest Taylor Swift fans.
Can't do it. They're lovely people. Be less likable, Pete, and maybe I'll consider it. But what was it? I had a dream that I was at a Taylor Swift concert with two of my Taylor Swift fan friends, and they were both really mad at me, and I wasn't even doing anything. And I was so mad. I was like,
I bet you were doing something.
that's the thing. It was probably like some sort of like my anger towards them for like picking on me for doing nothing was probably really some like masked disappointment with myself of like, why am I ruining this concert for them? But like they kept talking to me and saying like, you're so annoying. And I was like, I'm not even doing anything. I'm not even saying anything. And
It's a real like, I'm not touching you.
Right.
Stop touching me. I'm not even touching you.
Right.
I'm not touching you.
yeah. And then the only thing I said was, I said, do you remember I made my Instagram profile? You got that Dave Bean daydream look in your eyes?
That was ghostwritten by me.
That was.
Yeah.
Yes, you're right. Oh my God. I totally forgot about that. And they were like, yes. And I was like, fuck you. And then this is the last part of the dream I remember. I said, what's the actual lyric? Does she really say, you got that Max Martin daydream look in your eyes? And they were like, yes. Now, like, could we just listen to the music? And that was it.
What a weird dream.
That's a dream that I remember. I just gave you, like, I remembered
A
everything
blow
from
by
it.
blow.
Yeah. I don't remember anything where there's, like, a meaningful thing that comes from the dream.
There usually isn't.
Yeah, I feel like that's true.
Like, when does anybody, like, wake up with, like, after a dream and be like, aha?
Actually, you know what? I think that a lot of them kind of do. I do some, like, very crude, like, psychology 101 of, like, what could that mean? What could that represent?
Oh, that seems like, I don't know. Like, if you get something out of it, good for you. But I just, at least from my experiences, my dreams are just like, don't even try.
Yeah?
Yeah.
But it's also, I mean...
And I think, like, I think I have enough trouble, like, in my day-to-day being like, hey, what does this mean?
Yeah.
Blah, blah. Like, in reality, trying to, like, decipher things, I don't need to spend my time and energy trying to decipher, like, the subconscious.
Yeah. And it's also, like, the, well, what's on your mind thing. If I go and I have that dream and say, like, I just went through, like, a breakup or something like that, then I'm sure when I wake up I can be like, oh, that argument in the Taylor Swift thing represents, like, the relationship somehow. And it's like, no, but that's just what's on your mind. It's the whole thing of where you go throughout the day, like, confirming, like, your brain's trying to confirm what you already think.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, if you think, like, God, I suck at everything, then throughout the day your brain is
will,
going to
like, look for reasons to be
notice,
like,
well, car needs gas. Fucking idiot.
I've never actually, like, had that sort of baseline concept presented to me that, like, your brain is trying to confirm what you already, like, believe.
I had it presented to me via someone who shares too many, like, clips of people talking on Instagram. But it was, like, legitimately that. It was somebody just, like, reminding that, like, that's what our brains do. And I was like, right. And I've applied it to so many things. And it's correct. I brought it up to my therapist, and apparently there's, like, a very common name for that. It's, like, the most basic thing. If I were to say it, you'd be, like, embarrassed that we both didn't know it.
Yeah.
And she was like, oh, yeah, you're talking about this.
Like,
and
confirmation bias or something.
that's it.
Is it?
Yes, confirmation bias. And I was like,
Holy
I
shit.
am so
I
fucking
don't
stupid.
I don't know if that I'd heard that at some point in my life and it was just, like, floating around in my brain, or if I just kind of, like, connected two words that would make sense.
The tendency to interpret new evidence as confirmation of one's existing beliefs or theories. Yeah, so it's essentially
I'm, like, wildly impressed with myself right now. Thank you very much.
Well, that's because you were really feeling yourself today. And then you're just like, did you see how I just nailed that? I thought of that thing. What a smart guy. That's confirmation bias, hard at work.
That's definitely not that.
Nah.
I'll tell you something. It's not that.
Sarah, reach out your hand, please. Let me. I'm just going to yoink. You're gonna Jennifer Lawrence style, where she keeps taking his Xanax.
Oh, yeah.
Also, loving that movie. And look at us talking about Don't Look Up without mentioning religion, where the way he says Xanax is like he just found out about it. He's like, oh, sometimes just a Xanax. Sometimes
Xanax.
I take half of one to calm my nerves a little bit. We got an episode of the podcast today.
We do, and it is presented by Lumino. Can I ask you a question? I don't know if
Hey,
hey.
I've been trying to do.
I feel like it's been popular. I feel like it's been popular to hate on the Lumino.
So show me family.
It's a good band.
Yeah, first album was great, and the second one was too.
I feel like people hate on Hey O as like a.
I wonder who's responsible for that.
It's probably Father John Misty.
It is 1,000% Father John Misty.
I don't think we've ever asked this question to each other. How do you feel about your smile?
Okay, sometimes I think I overdo. I think that like there's some pictures of me, such as the Rockefeller skating picture, which again I'm not blaming any of how that picture came out on me. Do not get it twisted. like my gut is out. Like I'm over smiling and everything, but none of that is my fault. Everything is on that terrible photographer. But sometimes I'll see a picture and I'm like, you could have stood to tone it down. But generally, I think that I've got a good smile because I don't notice it. Your smile is like, I say this all the time. I've never said this before. It just dawned on me. Your smile is like a cornerback. If you're not talking about the smile,
it's a good smile.
That's a good thing.
Yeah, that's a. Unless it's like,
'Cause I don't think about my smile.
unless it's like an all-pro cornerback and you've got like an all-pro smile.
If your smile is catching everything that's thrown
Yeah.
to either side of the field,
Right.
then
Yeah, I mean, I like mine. I think I've got pretty good teeth.
I like. Yeah, you got it. You got good teeth. You got
Natural, never had braces.
what?
Yeah, so
Whoa.
that's a big. That's a
Poor
big. Like,
boy.
I'm a big fan of my smile. What I don't love is all the toxic ingredients in most dental care products. No snake oil in my dental care products,
Yeah.
please. They're not good for anybody's health or your teeth. If you want the best for your oral health, you got to get with products that make natural ingredients to help your smile and not harm it. That's why you should use Lumino. Lumino makes toothpaste, mouthwash, and whitening products that actually help your oral health instead of hurting it. They use purposeful and uncompromising ingredients like sea salt, aloe, coconut oil to clean and brighten your smile. Plus, everything they make is certified non-toxic. Get rid of the toxic things in your life, whether it's people, whether it's influences, whether it's dental care products. Get them out of there. You won't find harsh bleaches, artificial dyes, or alcohol in any of your Lumino products. Everything they make is dentist formulated, backed by over 50 studies, and proven to protect the good bacteria in your smile, also known as the microbiome.
Oh yeah.
Hell yeah. Lumino products will make you feel better, make you feel healthier, happier with your smile, highlight the differences from your old dental products to Lumino. So, if you want to try them, go to Lumino or getlumino.com/brunch. I know that's probably a difficult thing to kind of wing off the top of your head. So it's LUMINEUX.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, that's
Nice.
real classy stuff.
Yes.
So that's get GET
Nice.
LUMINEUX.com/brunch, and that code brunch will help you save 15% off your order. So a whopping 15% off any Lumino products at getlumino.com/brunch.
Lumino. So show me
That
smile
smile,
of
baby.
yours.
Look at that. My favorite thing about our ad reads is that, like, they'll be like, yo, make it your own. Like,
Yeah.
2 minutes, make it your own, give it your own spin. And we're like,
Yeah.
oh, make it our own? It's got to be a segment.
Yes.
Just turn every read into a segment.
I like doing ad reads just fine, especially when there's especially if we're feeling like a little heat from the sponsor, because that's just like this is like dicey. It's like bad boy shit.
It's a little like chip on your shoulder. It's like
dangerous.
Yeah.
Right. Ooh, better watch what I say here. It says don't read verbatim. Bet they'd hate it if I read it verbatim. Like stuff like that. But I quite like when you do ad reads, because you do them wonderfully.
No, that's not true. I mean, the last
was
ad,
one time.
the last ad, it was the last one that I did, and boy, it
one
was
time.
rough.
It was one
So
time.
that one felt good. I'll
Yeah,
say
you
I'm
were-
back on track.
You were reaching for Sarah's hand after that one. But I like when you are doing it because I like kind of like just like lurking in the background and just like,
Where's
like,
this gonna go?
What am I gonna do?
Yeah.
Yeah, Pete's giving you all the information.
How do
But
I get involved
They
here?
got to know at some point I'm saying something. What's it gonna? Because I don't even know what I'm gonna say yet. You
You're
got
like-
a script. It's nice and easy.
You know what it is? It's like a Jack in the Box.
Yeah.
I'm winding the little handle trying to get through this ad read. But we all know at some point the Joker's coming out of the box.
Oh my God, we should. The old brunch account's been. We've been spending a bit, but a great thing to do at some point would be to like pay someone to animate you doing an ad read and me just like jumping out, whether it's like "Hi, Gene" or anything. At one point, I did a I don't like Mike Love at all during one of your ad reads one time. It's always fun. I'll tell you what, I'm realizing as I say this, it's 1,000% inspired by, I got to shout out my pal Scott Zolak, something he would do on his radio show. That's a great radio show of Boston people, Zolak and Bertrand on 98.5 The Sports Hub. Mark Bertrand and Hardy are great hosts, funny, loose, can do anything. Zolak is
Insane
like
person?
the lead name on the show is just like wild card bees. And at any point when something is being done cleanly, he's just like waiting to like, yo,
fuck it up.
Let's like, I'm going to send this party into orbit. The three of those, I really can't speak highly enough of the dynamic those three people have. It's incredible.
Question: did you try to log into the Patreon like in the last like 40 minutes?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. I got a warning email.
I was actually trying to see the like, warning DJ's on the Patreon again. Like, I've never logged in. Everything that has ever been on the Patreon is only Pete. I kid. I was going on because I wanted to shout out some people.
Oh,
just randomly. We do have to give an update on the Patreon. Tomato Fights returns next week, and
it's a real doozy.
I really is going to be the exact word I was going to use. It's going to be a real doozy. It's going to be a bit of a full house, guests-wise, but it's going to be a lot of fun. It's two movies that have so many similarities that it is incredible. It qualifies as a tomato fight. Because they both in addition to like
concept,
same movie that came out at the exact same time, like within 2 months of each other. And there's, I mean, I've
it really doesn't make sense that this is like a tomato fight.
It's gonna
in just in like the sense that it doesn't even make sense that these two movies exist in like the same universe. It's gonna be. I'm very much looking forward to it.
It's going to be a great time. So I got to give you an update on the numbers. We're at 329.
Oh my
350 gets us that sleepover. Now, I'm gonna be a little honest. I've said this before. I've hinted at this before. At the end of every month, because of general Patreon housekeeping, the numbers go down a little bit. So right now we are at 329 with 11 days, 12 days, I don't know.
12 days.
Left in the month. If we can definitely get 21 people in that amount of time. If we get to 350 before it goes down, do we still do it?
Yeah.
Or do we say, all right, got to get back to because
as long as the Patreon number hits 350 at any point, we
that's how I felt.
Yes.
And we'll do the whole refresh thing. You know what that is? It's from a Tomato Fights movie.
No. Oh,
we gotta be
Social
getting
Network.
Close. Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll do that whole thing. When it's 350, we ain't sleeping because we're doing a sleepover. So we can get there. 21, honestly, we've done 21 in a day before. So we can get to 21. If you're on the fence, I'll tell you, the Patreon is the most fun and most active and most lively it's been. Like, there's a lot of communication.
It's
on
now
there.
like a thing, which I'm very happy about.
I check the Patreon as one of my, like, check Instagram, check Twitter, check whatever, because, like, people sending us notes, people commenting, people talking to each other on there. It's a good environment. We've got no complaints so far of, like, anyone being a jerk.
Somebody asked for Creek Speak to come back.
Yeah.
And I'm down with that. We were exposed to some Dawson's Creek last
week. We were
exposed
so
in a movie that we're going to be talking about later on in this episode.
5 days. We were exposed.
That's right. I'm excited to get back into Dawson's Creek. am also very happy with the episode that we did on Sunday. If
Sunday
anybody
was
was keeping track,
great
we tossed out a question last week on the Patreon, like, hey, do you want us to look forward to our weekend of fun in Portland or look back on our weekend of fun in Portland? The vote ended up being, let's recap the weekend of fun on Sunday. So we did that. It was a good episode, I think. Just recapping that weekend in fun. Somebody said that they're from the Pacific Northwest,
Yeah.
and that episode convinced them that Portland, Maine is the more superior Portland.
Which is funny because I would like to say on the record, as a borderline obsessive lover of Portland, Maine, I have never thought or assumed that Portland, Maine is the better of the two. Portland, Oregon is like supposedly like
I bet it's
one
awesome.
of the best cities in America.
But
and
here's what I'll say. Portland, Maine is my favorite place that I've ever been to.
really?
Yes.
Whoa. I mean, it's the best. That's not a bad answer. I don't know what my favorite place I've ever been to is. The next one.
I mean,
Heaven. Never been yet.
I'm debating buying a place in Portland. So, which we also talked about on that episode of the
Yeah.
Patreon. So, like, it is the best place that I want to live.
I'm going to. I also talked to you when we were up there. I was like, yeah, place downtown, be cool, walkable to wherever. I forgot there's another area in Portland that I don't know if you've frequented that might be the best place if you were to like get a place in Portland. It'd probably be expensive because I think it'd probably be more houses there. But there's like this.
I don't want a house. I want a condo.
Yeah, there's like exactly. If you're doing that, you want to do like everybody take care of everything. You don't want to have to worry about like
Right.
shoveling.
It's going to be like a second property.
Yeah, but there's a park. I forget what it's called, but there's like a park that's on the water, and it is beautiful. And there's cool things around there. And honestly, that town's small enough that you're never too far away from anything. It's the best. But wouldn't hate if the brunch account thrives for a little bit if we did like an investigative Portland, Oregon trip.
Oh, man. I would
Right?
for sure be down for
Like
that.
Portland week?
Yeah.
Just-
If Pig wins Best Picture,
Yeah.
we should like be like, oh, we got to go to Portland because I think it's a Pacific Northwest film.
Probably.
Yeah.
Anything that starts off outside has some Pacific Northwest vibes going on.
Speaking of regions,
Yeah.
we had a discussion actually on the Patreon episode, so it's a good transition. We talked about the fact that we should do a non-New England draft on this
Yes.
episode. It was born out of a conversation that we had over the weekend, and it was talking about a person that isn't from New England,
Yes.
but seems like they should be or could be.
Bon Iver was playing, and I said we need to Gloria Bon Iver.
Steal or like draft him,
just be
claim
like,
him. He's
"You're
he's
from
ours.
New England now."
Yes, and like I could definitely see it. So we were like, let's draft things that aren't actually from New England, but kind of feel like they should be, or like we'd like to claim.
Okay. Do you want first pick?
Yeah, it's been spoiled already. But
Yeah,
Bon
you can
Iver.
take Bon Iver. The
Yeah,
cat's-
Bon Iver. Like, he's a big woods guy. Seems like he could easily be Maine or Vermont. Like, he's earthy, crunchy.
Yeah.
Has that vibe. It would definitely be, like, limited to Maine
Yeah.
or Vermont.
Yeah, so
Not
it'd be
like a
Vermont.
Boston.
It'd
Yeah.
be Vermont. Okay. Mine, you might say, don't you already kind of have this New England? But if you can get sole ownership, let's do sole ownership. India Pale Ales.
Okay.
IPAs.
I was thinking
make
about
that
beers.
a solely New England thing. But I do like getting IPAs in other parts of the country, though, which is why I was a little on the fence about this. And, like, there's already, like hazy IPAs are a New England thing, or New England IPAs, whatever
I was
you
gonna
want
say,
to call
yeah.
that. But it'd be cool to, I mean, India is in the name, but to say, oh yeah, no, that's straight Boston, Massachusetts.
Mm-hmm.
I don't hate that. IPAs.
Okay. I was trying to think of, like, a specific beer that seems like it should be from around here, but, like, New England has so many good beers that it's
Yeah.
like, do I really want to steal another like place's beer?
We're not hurting for
Right,
like,
no.
beer.
I was thinking about doing like a jokey one and
Yeah.
and being like Sam Adams
Yeah.
because Sam Adams famously presents itself as like a New England beer, but isn't really. Like
Yeah.
most of the production is in Pennsylvania, I believe. Here's one that is quite recent that we've discussed: the Tender Bar. It is a Long
yes.
Island movie, but it like is mostly actually New England because it was filmed in New England. But like, I would like to take it. I like that movie, and I would like to take it and just have it be presented as a New England thing and not a Long Island thing.
People that would go a long way. People would really like Boston for that, or the North Shore, or wherever that would take place. Probably the North Shore. Here's one that's for many of my friends. Ice hockey. I would like to respectfully take that, pull that down,
I would
put
love
that squarely in New England, and our game, our place. Everyone is welcome to play, of course, but we invented hockey.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that
People in Nova
because
Scotia right now passing away.
I love that for two reasons. Because ice hockey is one of my favorite things in the world, and I would love to have some ownership of it, and I would love to take it away
That's
from the
mainly
people.
it.
Yeah,
Taking,
right.
I wrote down ice hockey. Would love to take that away from Canadian people.
Hell yes. The Willy Wonka meme. You get nothing.
Yes. Yeah.
All right, number 3. I think that you're gonna like this one. Kiefer Sutherland.
Oh, yeah.
Kiefer Sutherland has big Boston vibes, and it was
Canada
like,
getting its ass kicked in this draft.
is he Canadian?
Yeah.
He's like, I know that he's like somewhat British.
Really?
I think.
Kiefer Sutherland.
But like for some reason he has like
British Canadian. Yeah.
he has big sort of like Boston energy. I don't know if it's just like his face. Like him and Jeremy Renner, I think, have faces of people who should be from Boston.
Yeah. I'll throw another person. I'll do someone, an actor. And I'll tell you what, I guarantee I could have gotten this one undrafted, but I'm still going to throw them out there. Josh Duhamel. Wouldn't hate Josh Duhamel being from Boston. He's from North Dakota, but why don't you bring it over to...
Yeah, I
To
could see
the-
that.
yeah.
He'd be in like a Watertown guy or something.
Yeah, absolutely.
And like while doing the process of this draft too, I was like also thinking about people and things that are New England, but like that we could easily give away.
Yeah.
And like that don't really embrace or encapsulate New England. Like Matt LeBlanc is from Belmont or Watertown or something, but
he's from
I constantly forget that.
Watertown. Tom Bergeron, you're thinking of, is from Belmont.
Really?
Yeah.
I easily both of those things. I don't mind having Matt LeBlanc on my team, but it just he doesn't
He's
seem
from
to,
Newton. I'm sorry.
Okay.
Matt LeBlanc is.
he doesn't seem to like embrace Boston very much.
No.
Here's one, a thing that is a bit confusing, but let me explain it. And I don't think I need to explain it to you, actually.
Our podcast.
No. Zach Brown Band. Like,
Oh,
very
I mean-
thoroughly Southern, and, like, they don't present themselves as Boston, but nowhere in the world is Zach Brown more appreciated than Boston, Massachusetts.
No, that's one that I would say, like IPAs, is probably unnecessary because Zach Brown Band already is like a Massachusetts.
They're like honorary
Band.
Bostonians.
Yeah, like Massachusetts is where they make their money. Like when
Right.
they go on tour and everything, I think I've said this before, they don't do multiple stadium shows. They do that here.
Here only, yeah.
They'll play Fenway for 2 nights, or they'll play Gillette for multiple nights. Like, that's where, and it's not saying that, like, I'm not trying to make this like a huge racial thing or anything, but like, when you talk about like the whiteness of Boston and Massachusetts, it's like, there's no place in the world that goes as fucking crazy for a Zach Brown Band than Massachusetts. And again, I'm not trying to draw any crazy connections there, but like Massachusetts loves Zach Brown Band in ways that no other part of the world does. And they've got some great songs and some good albums. And Clay Cook is one of my favorite musicians. So
yeah,
shout out them.
it's not like I'm the biggest Zach Brown Band fan in the world, and that like I'm like, oh, I want them, but it just seems like Why not just come all the way around and be like, yo, we're from Boston?
I think some of them actually do. I think some of them live here.
Really?
Yeah. I think Clay Cook lives in New Hampshire. Famously, he's from Atlanta. Went to college at Berkeley. Met a guy named John Mayer. Said, hey, John, you and me, we're blowing this joint. Where are we going? Atlanta. Okay. They go down there. They start making some music. They work on some songs. Turns into a little album called Room for Squares. And boy, oh boy, it was a hit.
Why
So-
Georgia is an incredible song.
Why Georgia? Great song. No Such Thing. Incredible song. Songs that didn't even make that album. Man on the Side. One of the great songs. And I'll tell you what, don't even need to draft John Mayer because thanks to that little weird wrinkle that is Connecticut being a New England state, John Mayer, I was thinking about this today when I was thinking about New England people. I was like, isn't it funny that we can be like, who are some New England celebrities? Well, like George W. Bush, John Mayer,
George
and just
W.
like
Bush.
people from like Connecticut. I'm saying
George W. Bush is from Connecticut?
he was born in Connecticut. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
I just was like, he's a
Raised
Texas
in-
through and through.
Raised in Texas.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's so weird. Yeah, we don't claim Connecticut.
Yeah.
If we're talking about things that New England can give away, Connecticut's first on the list.
Did you just go or did
I did Zach Brown Band.
Oh, right. Okay. So, I'll be honest. I stole this one. I saw a tweet about this, so I just took it. The Wire. Only in Boston.
All right.
I'd like The Wire and The Office to be from Boston, please.
Hell yeah, that would make that Twitter account a lot more bearable.
Yeah. Yeah.
My final one, maybe a little controversial, but I think that it works. Louis C.K. He's from Washington, D.C., but like...
Really?
Yeah, but like...
Raised in Boston.
Is he?
Oh, yeah.
I
He's
didn't
from
know
Newton.
that.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Well,
Louis
that
C-
makes a lot of sense. Actually, I've probably heard that before. I did not know that. For some reason, like, I just was like, he seems like a guy that could absolutely be from Boston or, like,
Oh, yeah.
be in New Hampshire, something like that.
That's, yeah. He, let's see.
I mean, I assume that, like, he spent a lot of time here because, like, a lot of comedians do.
Yeah, let's see. So he is fairly so he was born in DC. As an infant, moved to Mexico. Did know that. And at the age of 7, moved to Boston and lived in Framingham and then Newton.
Okay, well, then I
Yeah.
guess confirmation bias.
That's right. So, I have like 13 more, but I'll round it out with Southern hospitality. What if people were nicer in Boston? And it just doesn't always have to be
It's something that I
about
would
Boston.
like to draft. I don't think
Yeah.
that it, like, necessarily fits what we deserve.
Vermont has some Southern hospitality, and Maine does. I'll be honest. I love my New Hampshire friends. New Hampshire's a bit confused sometimes.
Yeah, definitely.
New Hampshire doesn't always know what it's doing.
No. There's I've lived here my entire life. Had a lot of exposure to New Hampshire. I couldn't fucking begin to tell you what New Hampshire is.
That's what I
or
told.
what
That's
they're
why
about.
I was telling you. I said if you got a place in Portland, it's a good like central point to get to other cool places in New England. So like Portland isn't far from Portsmouth, New Hampshire, which is another Portland type town. So yeah, a lot of cool things in New Hampshire. Left on the cutting room floor was French. Wouldn't hate like. What if we all spoke
Had
French?
a language?
Yeah. People are like, hey, people are in, I don't know, they're in like New Mexico and they're like, well, where are you headed? Oh, I got some friends in Maine going there. Hope you brush up on your French. You never know. People are going to be speaking French or English there. I like that about Montreal and Quebec. I wouldn't hate having that. Also, how fun would it be if the Beach Boys were from New England?
That would be hilarious.
And they were just, because we got beaches.
Yeah.
I'm just talking about like the
Famously-
Atlantic Ocean.
Famously, we have a coast.
Yeah, they're just that beach.
It is funny that
Half
when
their
people
songs
talk
about surfing. And I'm
Yeah.
like, eh.
It's funny when people talk about, like, most times when people talk about the ocean, they're not talking about the Atlantic Ocean.
Correct.
Mostly the Pacific.
Although you know what, it wouldn't be too crazy. Like the Brian Wilson, famously, not a surfer, didn't surf, just wrote all these songs, and all of them were like, gonna go surfing with the boys. It's surf time. You know, those names of Beach Boys songs.
Yep.
Their biggest hit is It's Surf Time. He wrote
now
all
we have
those.
to make a fake album cover of the Beach Boys. It's surf time.
He wrote It's Surf Time despite not having been a surfer. His brother Dennis was a surfer, and his mother was a stunner. Man,
right.
I wish we didn't have more episodes. That'd be a great way to end it. Definitely making a fake Beach Boys like record sleeve. That's,
Hell yeah.
It's Surf Time. Written by Brian Wilson. But it's like all the Beach Boys in like 1965. And then it's like written by Brian Wilson. It's like a current picture of Brian Wilson. Oh. Would it be ruining the joke if we discussed my Beach Boys passion project? I kind of
like keeping it a secret
Yeah.
until it like blows up into something.
I want people
Let's
to
just talk
figure it
about-
out bit by bit.
DJs. I was gonna say like DJs running a burner account, but it's more of a burner activity.
Yes, it's from my Twitter account.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
I have a
Can't
Beach
say
Boys passion project that so far only one person I know has picked up on. His name is Jeff Israel, and it makes me so happy that he's the only person who knows about it. I told you about it over the weekend when we'd had a few, and you were like,
It was
sincerely
hilarious.
laughing very
It was
hard.
hilarious.
It made me feel very good.
Maybe we save that for the Patreon. That's an incentive to subscribe to the Patreon. Is like you get access to DJ's secret
Yes,
bit.
you on the Patreon, you are allowed to. It'll be like a gender reveal thing. If you want to know, you may ask me, and I will tell you it.
Okay.
If you don't want to know, won't do it. So message us if you're a Patreon person asking about the Beach Boys passion project, and you'll be told. Otherwise, ignorance is bliss. Maybe you find it out on your own. It'll be a fun thing. We saw Scream. This was supposed to be like a Scream episode, but we got so many other wonderful talking points. We saw Scream. Very excited to talk about it. We both liked it. First, do have to talk about one of the trailers that we saw beforehand, because there's a movie coming out that we're both really excited for, and we talk to each other about it all the time, but haven't acknowledged on the podcast. Marry Me. It's Jennifer Lopez and Owen Wilson. If you haven't seen the trailer yet, it's legitimately like I think Licorice Pizza, best trailer I've seen in forever, but does that trailer like register as like a whole like that's
Yeah, it's like I would call it a Goosebumps trailer. You're like, wow.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right, so if you haven't seen it, Jennifer Lopez plays a huge pop star, not a tough role for her, and she has a song called Marry Me with her celebrity boyfriend, and they're going to get married at this big concert, and the boyfriend ends up cheating on her, and they break up, and she's left heartbroken at this concert, and Owen Wilson is like a mathematics teacher. He's just at the concert because his coworker, Sarah Silverman, has brought him to this concert, and he's holding a sign because she made a sign that said "Marry Me" because of the song, and he's holding it.
Yeah.
And she is heartbroken on stage, Jennifer Lopez, and sees Owen Wilson in the audience holding a sign that says "Marry Me," and says, "Fuck it, let's just get married.
I'll marry this random guy.
I'll marry this person." And if you haven't seen the trailer, seriously watch it. They marry each other on the stage, and then they got to kind of figure out life after that. And there's so many things about this trailer and this movie that I think is going to make for a really, really good movie.
I think it's going to resonate with a lot of people, and I think that like it's a we all love a coming of age tale, but
Yeah.
like this is
What
this
about
is
when you're growing up a little?
that's what I'm saying. This is like a
Yeah.
later in life coming of age tale.
Yeah, so Sarah Silverman plays Owen Wilson's friend and coworker, and I'm glad that there's like a movie that explores that, you know?
Yeah, like friendship.
Yes. Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly. Yeah, that there's people in some of the characters are friends with each other. Some of the characters are famous. They have different jobs. It's like it seems really well thought out.
Yeah, I mean, I just think that like a lot of movies, not enough movies these days, explore the dynamic of friendship
like,
or relationships.
A person like helping somebody with whatever, like somebody that they can talk to, or like these two people get together, you know?
Right.
And we've seen,
you're like, the cards may be stacked against them, but are they going to be able to work through it and like hurdle these obstacles?
Now, I can't tell if it's one of his students or what, but Owen Wilson also has a daughter, so there's like a family component to this movie. Like it seems pretty rich.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's a thick. Like it seems like a really good script.
A real breath of fresh air.
Yeah, there's a scene where they're like face to face, and he says, "Is this smart?" And she says, "I think we left smart 6 weeks ago." Chills.
Yeah.
Legitimate chills.
And it looks like there's a good bit of physical comedy in this movie too, which will probably sort of shake up the it's a very serious subject matter, obviously, when you're talking about marriage and like navigating relationship troubles.
Yeah.
You kind of want some comedic relief. And there's like one point in the trailer where you see like they just got married. I think probably seems like they're meeting up the next morning to talk about it. He goes in for the handshake. She goes in for the hug.
Yeah.
And it's like a real hoot.
Yeah. I think I'm going to laugh. I think I'm going to... I think I'm going to laugh a lot during this movie. And honestly, like, there's heavy things in there. There's like the scene, there's Owen Wilson says, "I don't fit." And that's, everyone's been there before. Not just in a relationship or whatever, but like, look, like, I get the redeeming qualities of this, and it seems like it makes sense in so many ways, but like, there's a self-doubt there because I'm not exactly what you are or whatever. And even if like that doesn't, you can zoom out and say like, yeah, but you two like each other. That's still a thing that people go through. I've gone through it before.
Yeah, 100%. Like I think that a lot of times like two people have like this vision of like what they want or whatever, and if the other person's not exactly that, or they don't feel like they're exactly that, then they're like, I don't fit. This is not what I envisioned. So this isn't going to work.
And the other person being like, I'm not thinking about any of the things that you're thinking about here. Like if you're thinking like, oh, I work a different job than you, or I do this, or I come from a different background.
That's not important to me.
That's like, why are you thinking about stuff like that? But that's a real thing. So this movie, I mean, Sarah Silverman looks like that's going to be an incredible performance out of her. But
Best Supporting Actress, maybe.
I think that Jennifer Lopez will probably be a contender for Best Actress when she's standing on stage, like holding the mic, heartbroken, and telling all these people like, yo, like my life just fell apart. I'm figuring this out on the fly. I got to do something different. Like that felt real. This is well shot. This looks very well written.
And you know that like that is probably a tough thing for Jennifer Lopez to do, because like she's playing a pop star, but like in real life, when things fall apart, she doesn't do something different.
Yeah, and
she goes back to Ben Affleck.
True. She is always kind of on the stage though when that happens.
That is true.
Because anything that happens with Jennifer Lopez's, it's terrible, but like anything that happens with Jennifer Lopez's personal life, and especially in the case of Ben Affleck, is whether they got on that stage or not, they're put on that stage. They're put on that stage. So even if Jennifer Lopez hasn't directly, I wonder if that scene was improvised. Because she's,
I'd love to get a look at the script.
Yeah, because
I think that script is gonna be hot stuff, like at auctions years from now.
Right, like Rovell shit you're saying.
Yes.
Like get me like a physical copy of that script.
Yeah.
That would be dope, man. Patreon.com/listenerbrunch. Like we need that. We need that
script money.
random ass script money that we get like a nice shelf for it. That would be amazing.
Laminate it.
Yeah. We have to get on like the junket scene for this movie.
Absolutely.
It looks so good, and it features new music from Jennifer Lopez. It had that first song, "Marry Me," seems awesome, but that last one, "Sat down in the yellow brick road." Ba, 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 da, ba, ba, ba. It's all the lyrics like "I'm on my way to you, I'm on my way to you." Like, I don't care who wrote that song for her character in that movie. When they show her like tracking it, she's singing it to Owen Wilson.
That's right.
That would be a twist. She's singing it to Owen Wilson, you know?
Yeah.
And I'm glad that Owen Wilson has like a very serious role.
Yeah, I mean, he deserves it. I
Yeah.
mean, people say with Adam Sandler all the time, like, oh, look at this funny guy, but he can act.
Yes, he acts.
Not enough people are saying that about Owen Wilson.
Owen Wilson, at least from the trailer, acts his butt off in
That's
this.
right.
I think that it's going to be fantastic. Last note, in case like you're like, oh, I'm still kind of on the fence about this movie. Like, we're both into it. Like, but Jimmy Fallon plays himself in this movie.
Oh, shit.
Let's fucking go. Can't wait for Valentine's Day to see Marry Me. It's going to be awesome. Now, let's get to... it kind of stinks that, like... It's like we're going to see Casey Musgraves next week. But really, I wouldn't have been super interested in that concert. Because I've seen her a bunch of times and she's great. Didn't love her new album. But her new album hadn't come out yet. But when she announced the tour... The openers are Muna and King Princess, both of whom are awesome.
Yeah, in my mind, I'm going to a Muna concert, and Casey Musgraves is just closing it out.
I was legitimately confused as to, because I got tickets, you got tickets. I was confused as to like why I got tickets for that, and then somebody reminded me. I forget who. Oh, my friend Rich was like, yo, you ready for that King Princess concert? And I was like, shit, is King Princess coming? Did I fuck up? Oh my God, I didn't get tickets. And he was like, no, she's opening for Casey Musgraves, like Muna and King Princess. And I texted you right after and was like, excitement reinvigorated.
Yeah, and I didn't know, so that was like the greatest text that I've gotten in the past month. It was like, yo, you know that band that you're into right now more than anything in the world?
2 or 3 weeks earlier or something.
Yeah, and you were like, yeah, you have tickets to see them in like a week. And I was like, what?
Let's go. That's going to be a really good time. But that's kind of going to be like Muna and King Princess before Casey Musgraves is kind of like seeing the trailer for Marry Me before Scream. Scream, great in its own right, but Marry Me might have stolen its thunder.
Mm-hmm.
I'll tell you what, Scream lived up to that opening act from Marry Me.
Yeah, I don't know.
The best movie of
no.
the bunch, and not the best movie I've seen, but Scream also could put out a huge piece of shit, and I wouldn't know it. Because I just like...
I think that I would know it. I think that I would feel disappointment. And I was sort of like anticipating a little bit of disappointment because Scream's trailer campaign really didn't do it service. Like,
darker.
I tweeted this out before I actually saw the movie. I was like, my biggest fear with Scream and the scariest thing about Scream looks like it's taking itself seriously. Like it's presenting itself more in like the Halloween, like dark, gritty vibe and sort of going away from...
Like New Halloween, you're saying?
Yeah. It's going away from like what Scream was intended to be, which was like a little bit of like satire, a little bit of fun, but also honoring like what a slasher should be.
Yeah.
And it was that.
What
it
a
was
twist,
that.
because this movie was the campiest out of all of them.
Yeah.
And this
A little bit like too much, honestly.
That's a small criticism I have of it. That at some point, at one point, there's like a 5-minute conversation where like I don't even know what they're talking about. They just get so in the weeds with like Scream.
They're like, all right, let's sit down. We're gonna be meta as hell for like 5 minutes.
Yeah. So that stuff I didn't need as much. I do like though, like the scene with all the doors. You know what I'm talking about? When
Oh yeah.
like they'll open a refrigerator door, and when you're watching a horror movie, your brain just assumes like
He's gonna
when they
show up
close
behind the
it, it's
door.
gonna be, and they do like a bunch of doors. It was kind of Austin Powers-y, like that sort of stuff. That jokiness.
It was like
I
making fun
love.
of that trope. Yeah, there was a lot that I felt was like, well, this just like isn't subtle.
Yeah.
And I think that they went overboard a little bit, but not to the point where I was like, all right, enough. There was
Yeah.
only really one point where I was like, all right, we get it.
Right. I'll remind you, this movie is coming off of, I would say, the lowest point of the Scream franchise. And not that I liked Scream 4. Scream 4 was really good. But the end of Scream 4, do you remember the ridiculous scene with Emma Roberts?
I've never seen Scream 4.
You haven't?
I think I've only seen the first Scream.
Okay. Oh, really?
I have not.
Me and more.
I mean, like it took you to convince me to watch the
That's
first
right.
Scream.
You hadn't seen. Oh my
Yeah.
God. Right. Yeah. It was you not being a huge fan of Happy Death Day.
Yeah.
And me trying to like
Understand why?
figure out. Yeah. Well, I mean, I've definitely been there too with what's it called, John Wick.
Yeah,
I saw John Wick, and you were like, "So you pumped to see John Wick 2 now?" And I'm like, "I guess." Honestly, thought it was a little silly. You were like, "Yeah, it's a silly movie." I was like, "Oh shit, okay." Yeah, I'm gonna be, I'm sure, rewatching because I put on Scream 3 the other day because it's got a cool opening scene, but
I saw my guy Jerry Carabas was doing the Scream marathon this week.
love it. Why hasn't Jared been on Tomato Fights?
I don't know. It's a good question.
Jared's a home run for Tomato Fights.
He doesn't watch a lot of movies though, but like we could have him on.
If we make him watch 2 movies,
Yeah.
we can make him watch 2 movies.
He's got time. There's no baseball.
That is true. Man, can't say enough good things about that guy. I also I don't think I've spoken to him about the Beatles Get Back thing. Do people know this about Jared?
Huge Beatles guy.
Jared is like a Beatles psycho. He's on my like legitimate. If I had to assemble a list of 10 people that, hey, there's a Beatles thing to talk about, who are you texting? Jared, absolutely on that list.
Okay.
Knows everything front to back. There's no. Wayne is my go-to, but Jared's on that list. Brad's on there. Had a conversation with Brad about the background vocals, and she came in through the bathroom window the other day. It was the best. Anyway, yeah, so it's Scream 5. It's called Scream, but it leaves off from, it follows a good movie that was like 10 years ago, I think Scream 4 was. Rory Culkin, Hayden Panettiere. Really good cast. This is the second straight one that is not centered on Sidney Prescott, and it still totally works. They just make it like a high school movie, like it's like the first one.
Yeah, but I mean, Sidney Prescott is obviously a big part of
Yes,
this one.
yeah.
I think like one of my favorite things about this one is that it like bridges the gap between like old characters and new characters. I think it does a good job of that. Like it makes you interested in both sides.
Yeah, and to get all meta the way it wants to, it talks about how like these days it's not about sequels and prequels, it's about requels, which I hadn't heard that term before, but in context when they said it, I was like, I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yes.
You're talking about Halloween. They reference like how Halloween, you make a movie that theoretically could be the second one. That's what this is with the first. Like you were never in the dark, having not seen 2, 3,
No.
4. Right?
I mean, I know that there were certain things that I was missing.
Oh, actually, the cop,
Right,
the
yeah.
mother of
Yeah.
Wes. She's in subsequent ones, but other than that, this was
Right.
just like
I just was like, okay, this is a person that I haven't met. I assume that like she has relationships, whatever.
Yeah.
It wasn't prohibitive.
Great casting. The main sister person, probably gonna become better at acting over time, and that's fucking awesome.
The younger one?
The main, I don't know how to
The main
the
character.
older
Okay.
of the two. Yeah.
Okay. Because I was gonna say the younger sister is a good actress, and
Okay.
she was in You,
Cool.
so I had known
Yeah,
her.
her
in
older sister, I think, is gonna like become
something.
better
Yeah.
at. It's kids in movies, whatever. I'm not.
Right.
They all did a great job. But
Plus, I don't think that you're going into a Scream movie looking for like an acting tutorial.
also, if they were like, "Oh no, I'm the lead in a Scream movie," I have to put on certain like silly like freak out things and everything, I'd be like, you're absolutely right. I'm so wrong. Gotta shout out Mikey Madison.
Who's that?
Plays one of the Manson family members in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
Okay.
And plays Amber in this movie.
Oh yeah.
I was like, yes, make this person a thing. Make this person. I was like, I hope that this person is like a main character in this, and they are. They're like in the main friend group. So
There is a nod to Once Upon a Time in Hollywood in this movie, and it is very much appreciated.
oh my god, I was so happy. I was so happy with that nod. We won't spoil it and say who ends up being the killer, but there really are like different avenues you can go as your.
We were texting.
Yeah.
Fuck, I just doxed us. I just.
You can do that during the movie.
Okay.
I will officially, in my opinion, if there aren't other people in your row, and there aren't people behind you.
Even if there are people behind you, I think that there's enough like space in
Yeah.
today's like theaters. I guess it depends on what your theater layout looks like. But like if you're not holding it up,
Use discretion.
if you're using it at like lap level with the brightness turned down, have at it.
Use
Plus-
your discretion.
Now, I think that the bar has become so low in movie theater etiquette that like if that is the one thing that like is driving me nuts, I can look past it.
Yeah.
You had a worse experience than I did.
Do
during the screening.
not talk during the movies. You are to say 0 words during the movies. And if you need to say like that's I know. Fine. If I can hear you having a conversation, these two young men behind me having a conversation. I almost said like I was gonna say these two dudes behind me, and then I like corrected myself as if like dudes would have been offensive. These two young men behind me, dudes, we're talking the whole time, and I kept turning around and looking at them. I'm not intimidating apparently because they did not care. They kept going.
I was a row in front of you. I could hear them at times, but I would not have guessed that they were talking during the whole movie. So like that one row of buffering was huge.
I was distracted and it was really upsetting. But yeah, we were texting. We were like, we only exchanged like 1 or 2 texts, but it was like this could go.
It was guesses at like who the killer was.
Yeah, like this could go
and we were wrong.
a few
both
different
of us.
ways. Both of us wrong. Love that
Yeah.
for us. And that's what makes these movies great. I mean, obviously they're horror movies and they're slashers. They're whodunits.
That's right.
They're like they're the most fun whodunit. And I felt stupid, honestly. I won't give it away. I was gonna say I felt stupid to not know that it was so and so, but no, just whatever. Watch the movie.
I think they did a good
see it.
job of like really opening it up.
And
it
then
could have been
but
a lot of people.
When you realize who it is, there's everything makes sense, and like there was no like
Yeah,
oh,
it's
they
not a
tricked
it's
me
yeah, it's
or,
not like a cheap it's not a cheap not
Yeah,
cheap
like,
misdirections.
they told
It's-
you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We talked about the fact that we texted. We had a nonverbal communication during the
Yes.
movie, and it was hilarious. And I hope that other people in the movie theater saw it because they were probably like, "What the fuck are these guys like celebrating?" There's a scene where
You know what? I actually did talk to her in the movie because I looked around afterwards and said, "You heard me."
there's a scene where they're watching Dawson's Creek
Yeah.
in Scream, and as soon as that came up, I could not have whipped around faster and looked at you and been like, "Oh my god!" And like you were like fist pumping.
I did.
Yeah.
What are these?
And it was awesome. And then later on, there was a hey, they did this for a reason. It wasn't a random Dawson's Creek pop in like we like to do.
Yeah.
You want to
Oh
elaborate?
yeah. I was like, you know when you're gonna say something that you think you know something, and you're like, but this sounds like it would be wrong, and I don't know why I think this.
Listen, that's never stopped us from saying
I
anything
know.
in the past.
Honestly, though, I found this like whenever I go to trivia or something, where you're like, I don't know why this is coming to mind, but like I don't know why this. I mean, like I remember one time it was like, what was the original name of this band or something, and I would have no reason to know. Like I wasn't even a fan of that band, but for whatever reason, I was like, this name is just sticking out in my head. Whenever you get those things, honestly, folks, you're usually right. Like
Intuition, baby.
they're there. Confirmation bias,
That's
if
right.
you will. That's what that means. But yeah, we were like, yeah, Dawson's Creek, and I was like, I think like either Wes Craven or Kevin Williamson like created both of those things, and I think it was Kevin Williamson did. I think it's Kevin Williamson is the connection that
Yeah.
he did both. So he was just all about that great teen content in the 90s.
And who doesn't love a good self-plug here and there?
Yeah. And then at the end of the movie, they did it said for Wes on the screen. Mm-hmm. And one of the characters' names is Wes. And I was confused for a second. And then I was like, oh no, did Wes Craven die? And Wes Craven apparently died like a while ago.
Oh, really? It was a while ago?
Died seemingly in between Scream 4 and Scream 2022. Wes Craven died, in 2015.
Damn.
But absolute legend. I love the Scream movies. Dude, chip away at... we don't have to talk about them on the pod or whatever. Just do it for you. Scream 2 is really good.
I heard Scream 2 is very good.
I mean, they're all really enjoyable movies. And... yeah, I don't want to spoil anything. But I'm glad that we didn't spoil anything with Scream, but I just give it a strong recommend.
I would give it a strong recommend as well. It's not a perfect movie. It's I would say that I would say that it starts a little slow, but the last half really comes around and delivers.
It does take a while to get, because there's no better feeling than the reveal in a Scream movie, and this one was done in like the quintessential Scream kind of way, where like everything's happening, blah blah blah, and then one person's like, yeah, and you're like, oh, they said yeah, that means that they're telling everybody because I am the killer. And every Scream reveal, like there's never like a, hey, what are you doing? What are you doing putting that mask on? Are you the killer? Fuck. Yeah. It's always like and now I reveal to everybody that I'm that. Also, love that the gang was back. Sid.
Yeah.
Dewey. Gail. Gail wears a really cool like sweater shirt type thing. I was doing huge that thing come in men's as I was watching that. I was Googling after. I was trying to find like online thrift shops, like is there like a man version of that shirt? Not too dissimilar actually from the one that Billy wears in Scream 1. You know those like
the short sleeve turtleneck thing.
Those like knit short sleeve tees. Even money's no object. It is, but
Billy makes a comeback in this one.
There's some
Billy.
There's some references
Billy
and
content.
allusions to Billy Loomis. Billy does have. You'll find as you watch other ones, Billy's got his fingerprint. Billy pops up throughout these movies, and I'm glad that he does because he obviously is.
Well, he has to. I mean,
he's like the OG.
Yeah, and like
not as much love for Stu. Because everyone like, especially this one, like,
but
really remembers Stu as like Stu is a little puss who was just, like, copying his
and
friend.
I think that Billy was carrying most of the weight there, and yeah, I mean, it makes sense that Billy sticks around and like has this lasting presence because Ghostface does, and he was the original.
That's right. Everyone just paying that homage to.
While we're talking about the returning cast members and how they looked,
yes. Oh, thank God.
Yeah.
I almost forgot.
David Arquette is in this, and they make him out to be like a guy who has like really let himself go, like he is
turned to the bottle,
like doesn't have it, lost his job,
living
in a trailer,
like a trailer,
yeah, like or like you know, just like a home that you could easily bulldoze.
Yeah.
And he looks pretty good.
Yeah, that was I had to do a like little like review movie critic type thing for work on this movie, and like most of my time was spent talking about that. I was like, everybody's back. David Arquette, it's confusing because Dewey's fallen on hard times, but physically he looks incredible, which obviously you can look incredible and still fall on hard times, unfortunately.
Yeah, but they all tell him like, yo, you look rough.
Right, but like all they talk about is like, oh, I'm gonna take advice from this fat idiot, and I'm like, he is in the best shape of his life. He looks like they keep telling you like, hey, just imagine he looks bad.
Yeah,
Because he
right.
looks great.
Right. Yeah, I mean, like, the first scene where you see him, they show, like, his living situation, and it's not great. Like, he's clearly, like, living in, like, a little bit of his own filth and not doing so well, not really taking care of himself in his space.
Yeah.
But, like, if they didn't start off with that and they started off with, like, a scene with just him interacting with people in the town and everybody was like, yo, you look like shit, you'd be like, what are you talking
he
about?
doesn't.
He just
Yeah.
looks like kind of rock bottom hot.
They tried to do like context clues for that, where it's like, we'll make everything else look like it's like kind of fallen away for him. So you can imagine he looks bad too. But like there's a character who's basically like Shaggy, who's just like afraid of everything the whole movie, and he's like, why are we here? I don't want to be. He's kind of like the Greek choir who's like, or we could leave and not be around. Like he's afraid of absolutely everything. Kind of a wimp, but whatever. I'd be the same way. Not exactly the same way, but he even says is like, because Dewey's like, well, who's this guy? Maybe he's the killer. And he's like, oh, yeah, like I'm gonna let this fucking like gross idiot say that about me. And I'm like, dude, he looks so much better than you. What are you talking about? You really gonna go looks on how David Arquette looks in this movie? Good movie though. See it. Do hit the Patreon. Marry me for Wes.